conference is in presentation mode.
Jambo, how are you today? It's another wonderful day, and we are joining together on Spices of Life with Esther from Leicester. Karibuni sana. Welcome, welcome, and feel refreshed and feel very welcome. On my table here, I am your host, Esther from Leicester. So wherever you're listening from or wherever you're tuned from, please tell me where you're tuned in from. And karibu sana, keep on sharing and welcome as many people as you can welcome, because today we are talking about money and we are talking about one of the interesting books in the Bible. It's called Ecclesiastes. It talks about wisdom, knowledge, money, and then it says meaningless. Everything is meaningless, but it's not. So we will find out whether it's not or it is meaningless. So Karibu sana from all the continents of the world, Africa, Europe, Kenya, wherever that is not a continent. Kenya is a country where I'm originally from. So you're very welcome to join in from wherever you're tuning in, Australia, in Asia, in East, whatever, everywhere, East Asia or South Asia. Yes, you're very welcome. Please come and join us and let's share on the spices of life. Like as I've said initially, S stands for spiritual, P stands for physical, and I stands for intellectual. And then C stands for commercial, E stands for emotional, and then S stands for social. Already we have done the spiritual, we have done the physical, we have already done the intellectual, and today we are on the commercial. We are on the transactions of life. So karibu sana. Remember, when we think about these topics, we are thinking about the self-concept and how we perceive the world and the purpose for our self-concept, also for ourselves, as well as everything else around us. So I do talk about maximizing your potential in whatever area that you are. So today I may not repeat all the 5 objectives, but I'm going to dwell on one objective. So as people join in, I just want to welcome everybody who is joining in right now so that I can be able to get moving and get to know who is joining us at this particular moment. So I'm going to recognize Catherine Mathenge. You are in. Karibu sana, Catherine Mathenge. Karibu sana, Hannah Kaeglens. Karibu sana, you're tuned in. And then Ephraim Wamai, Kuopropa Kileleshwa, you're in Kileleshwa and you're tuned in. And Rose Richardson is tuned in from Skegness in the UK. And then Gladys Minor from New York, you're tuned in. Karibu sana. Miriam Juguna, you're tuned in. Karibu sana. Jacob Wamaya Bishop from Nairobi, Kenya. And Wageshohi, yeah, you're tuned in as well and you're watching. So keep on welcoming other people, your friends, your family. Tell them Esther today on the Spices of Life, she's talking about money and the book that some people don't like reading because what appears to be coming out of that book is meaningless. It's vanity. But we want to find out whether it's really vanity or not. And the context of money, we'll be looking from it from that perspective. Yes, today we are looking at C for commercial in the spices of life. So the objective I have, I'm going to say it's only one objective. If you want to understand all the other 5 objectives, please have a look at our 6 sessions that we have done previously, and you can be able to understand the context on which Esther is coming from. I try to link them together because the spices of life and about rediscovering and then applying and all that must come in together. But today, so that I don't cause any confusion, I want to concentrate on only C for commercial. And when I say C for commercial, I am looking at how we transact life. We transact in life transactions, the currencies that we use in this life and where they play a part and what part do they play in our lives. So every day, we do use money. It's one of the commodities, it's one of the things that we use a lot of time. So karibu sana Wero Paul, karibu sana as you're joining in, and karibu sana Elizabeth Njoki as you join in from the other side. Karibu sana. And for those who are joining on the app, you're also very welcome. And for those who are also listening from Facebook Live and also from the YouTube, karibu sana. Everybody feel at home with Esther from Leicester on Spices of Life tonight. So I have said today we are going only to concentrate on one aspect. I'm going to try to be a bit slower so that everybody can understand what is it that Esther is talking about. But at the same time, we'll be looking at time. I could start earlier, I could start later. Yeah, but in all the things that we are doing tonight, please pay attention so that you can learn and you can be able to go and help someone else who may be wanting some explanation at a later time. I'm going to be also looking at those who are joining in with a telephone so that everybody will be feeling welcome and we will be joining in together so that we can flow together with this topic on money. Please attend in the conversation. I do ask a lot of questions because that is the way I feel like we are able to understand together. So please feel free to kind of answer the questions when I ask them because they will help me to know that you are also understanding and helping me in the studio so that I don't feel lonely. So nisaidie, karibu sana, kila mtu karibu na wacha tuendelee. Let's continue. So previously, I was talking about the intellect. That is last week. Today is the 28th of August, 2021. But last week I was talking about the intellect, the I part of the spices of life. And as people continue to come in, David Ginga, karibu sana, need to be reloaded on spices of life. Yes, tuongeze hako ka kiungo. When I try to ask other friends of mine, what do we call spices in Kikuyu? Oh, they came up with very funny names, but I laughed and I loved them. So it was very interesting. At this shamidhia. So I was finding it to be very interesting, but I like it. I think in Kiswahili they are called viungos. That's what they are called. And also when I was reading from the Bible context, I think they were calling them idonugiwega, but they also didn't include the ones that taste very good. So I'd say idonugiwega naido shiagoshamawega, the things that we add in this life so that the life can be spiced up. But I am doing it in English and I'm using an acronym. I have already said last week we did the I for intellectual, and it was food for the thoughts. And we were thinking about the way we sense our life. Again, I like saying in 5 common senses, and the 6th one, the instinct. That's the way we experience life. But I also broke it down, and Mary was here. She was helping us to break it down into behaviorism, cognitivism, and also constructivism. So behaviorism is about copying other people, and as children copy their parents and they keep on growing, and also being influenced by the environment. And that's why most of the time you see young people, teenagers, being influenced by their friends, peer pressure. So it's part of the behaviors that we pick around the environment. Behaviorism is one way we gain our intellect, we gain our knowledge. The other one was cognitivism, which is about the way the cogs in the head work. So the way we reason things around. So we receive the information and we don't sit on that information, we start processing it. So you can see the cogs going around your brain and thinking through that information you have received. And then the last one was on constructivism. By the way, these are not the only theories about learning. These were the only one that I chose that I thought they were relevant. So constructivism is about how we construct meaning based on the information we are receiving and based on the cultures that surround us. So we can be able to form a word because we can combine this and combine that. Like now I've said chamithia. So the Kikuyus have kind of constructed that word because it's something that they're thinking of tasting. But then I went to another place, I found it's called idonugiwega, you see, and then Kiswahili, they say viungo vya kuongeza ladha kwa chakula. So there is a lot of the ways we take words here, we take letters here, we take the understanding and construct our world. We construct the meaning according to the way we understand. By the way, on day number 1, I told you about Swahili and how it was formed. It was formed because there were Bantu people and there were English people, there were Chinese people coming together, and then they needed a language and Arabic as well. They needed a way they could communicate, and therefore they combined different types of words and names and everything else, and they came up with a language called Swahili. And I also said on that particular day that there is another language, a street language. In general, in English, we call them slang languages. These slang languages are found in every city, in every community where people live together. I remember when I was young, we children at school were forming a very funny sounding language, and they were calling me Dukunyuta, Oremtega, Kwendamtaga, something like that. That is a language, I don't know who started it, but it was kind of being established. And then we have the normal slang, in Nairobi City, they have their slang. In London, they have their slang. Where I am locally, we have a slang as well. As I continue to welcome people, welcome Neil Hutchings, karibu sana. Jane Karimi, karibu sana, watching from Zimmerman, karibu sana. Keep on sharing. And Sarah Moasia on the other side, tuned from Seattle, karibu sana, Sarah. And then Elizabeth Washira, nice to see you, Esther. Nice to see you, Elizabeth. Karibu sana. And keep sharing with the people in London, because I want more UK people to join in and even to be my guests. One of these days, we will develop a UK number so that people can call in, because maybe you may be thinking the US number could be expensive, but we can also invite you via a link. Whenever you want to join in, please ask me for a link, and we'll be able to send you a link beforehand. And for those who are calling me, please call me on +1 205 905 6440. Let me repeat that: +1 205 905 6440. You can tune via a call. You can tune via our app. If you've not downloaded the KDM app, please do download. And then you can tune on Facebook Live as well as on YouTube. If you go to YouTube right now, you'll be able to see Esther is live there as well. So and then behaviorism, cognitivism, constructivism, those are the kind of topics we were talking about last week, because we were talking about how we construct the knowledge. Then I took you back into Genesis in the Garden of Eden. Why did I take you there? Because intellect was about knowledge, and I was talking about the tree of good and evil. That was the tree of knowledge that became the tree of good and evil, because when they desired to know more, that's the tree that they ate from when they were told, you don't need to know too much. I have given you everything you need for this life. But they were curious because the devil, we say, tempted them. So we related that knowledge, the reasoning and understanding on how it was from the beginning and how mankind came to fall into the trick of wanting to know a lot. And as we were doing that, we said the very day they ate from the tree of knowledge, because knowledge is vast, it's a lot. You can tell me now, when you go to Google, you find a lot of information, too much knowledge. Sometimes if you don't stop yourself, you can be overwhelmed by a lot of information. So it's important that you know what it is that you're looking online and go and find that exact information. If you find similar informations, then you compare and you look at what is it that I'm looking for. One of the things I've discovered while we teach students, sometimes you can ask them the meaning of something and they just go on Google and pick a meaning. And sometimes that meaning could be wrong, because they didn't look at the context of what you were looking for. So it's important always to look at the context of information that you are receiving or the information that you are looking for, so that you can have a better understanding of that knowledge. But today, we are not talking so much about the knowledge, but I'm going to take you back to Garden of Eden, because we say they were confused and they became vulnerable. And the moment you become vulnerable and you become confused, just like someone who is developing dementia, it's like you're lost. It's like you die. We lose you. And sometimes it can be like we are just grieving about you. So karibu sana, Gladys, you're saying knowledge is power. And yes, and I'm glad here where knowledge is shared. And Reverend Bugo, you are joined in as well. You're saying welcome, Esther. Asante sana, and Salome Peters, you are tuned in as well. On the other side, let's see who's joining in. Karibu sana. I had welcomed Elizabeth Njoki, Sarah Muasia, and yes, Elizabeth Washira. Karibuni sana. So let me take you to the focus today. So the focus today, as we had said, it's C for commercial. C for commercial, and C falls in after S, P, I. Now we are on C. Next week we'll be on E. So C for commercial. And when you hear about commercial, most of the time you'll be thinking about money. You'll be thinking about business. And yes, I'm going to talk slightly about, I won't go into business because business is not my strength, but I'm going to just talk about money in general. So what is commercial? It's concerned with engaging in activities of buying and selling, and especially in large scale. That's what they say. And usually when people do businesses, they have an agreement. They have an agreement, and these agreements normally are signed as they do business and commercial activities. But again, I'm not going to those big businesses where people do agreements. No. I'm just talking about simple money, the money we use in everyday situation. So when looking at depth in that, I will be looking also at knowledge, because knowledge can also be part of using money. And I will tell you why. Then I will also look at time. Time also can also be used as part of making money, right? So when we look at agreement and disagreement, particularly when it comes to defining what exactly is money and what can money buy or not buy, sometimes people agree, sometimes they disagree, but that's okay. At the end of the day, we will still use money when we go to the shops to buy the basic need that we talked about under the physical. We remember we said about food. So when we go to buy food, we will use money. Yeah, when we go to buy education nowadays, if you're going to college, university, school, there are places that you pay money. Even if you don't pay money from your pocket, the government is paying money. If the systems where you are working well, then the government is funding education, maybe primary, secondary, up to university. They still give you loans to study. So money is used almost everywhere in our life. So when I talk about how we use knowledge in terms of money, I can interchange that with wisdom occasionally. And knowledge, time, and money are always related, like I have mentioned. And a friend of mine told me this very recently. He was here, he was trying to explain to me, because I used to wonder how come he's doing business, like he's buying estates, he's buying houses and all that. And I wondered, where does he get all this money to buy property and all that? He said, Esther, listen, I am not buying this property because I have money in the bank. He said, I am using knowledge. That is, he's using his wisdom. He's just using the rules within the society to be able to know when to have a deal and when to kind of transact money that is not there. I don't know how he does it. And then he pays on mortgage. He says maybe that rent that he'll be collecting from the people, those people will be paying mortgage. It was a tough education for me, but he has understood how it works. He has tried to kind of encourage me to join, but not now, because I don't want to overthink at the moment. I don't want to be thinking, oh, my tenant has not paid rent and all that. But one time, because I grew up in a system where we had money and then we bought everything that we needed, even if it's a small plot, you bought a small plot and then you build a house from that little plot, even if it was just a small shack, and then another time you can be able to build a good house. So my mentality has not quite changed, that I can buy 3 properties that I'll be paying on mortgage, and then I will be waiting for tenants to be paying my rent so that they can pay that mortgage. To me, that is still tough and it's too heavy for me. I think I like my chilling time. So I'm not I'm not disencouraging him, but all I'm saying is that when you know how to use knowledge, then that knowledge can help you to gain. Let me see who else is joining in at this particular time. Gladys Mine, I'm here, and this is where knowledge is shared. Yes, Rachel Paul, you're tuned in. Karibu sana, karibu sana. Like I'm saying, keep on sharing so that we can be able to share this wealth of knowledge tonight, because it's a wonderful, wonderful knowledge. Okay. The main currency of trading is money, as we know it. Like I said, when you need food, when you need bread, you need money to go and buy that bread. If you want to go and buy vegetables, you need that money to go and buy that food. But in all, when you go to the market, you still want to bargain because you want to find the best deal. So there you're using your wisdom, you're using your knowledge as well. Now, in the UK and most parts of the Western world, the developed world, time is money. Guess what? You are paid according to the hours that you work. And those hours must be very, very productive. It's no waste of time. So when I moved into the UK, one of the very jobs I did was in a warehouse. And when I was in the warehouse, I was thinking the warehouse will be like where I had worked before with a Coca-Cola company, where we could afford to give each other break time. I mean, you could have 4 people working on the chain, in the parking, and then 2 more will be just loitering around because they're chilling. Esther was working in a section where I could even afford to snooze. Can you imagine? But here in the West, you are paid per hour. You are paid per hour of productivity, of effectiveness. Otherwise, if they don't see the targets being met, you don't have any pay. So time is money. Time is money. Knowledge gives you the wisdom to use your money wisely. So knowledge, like nowadays, we have intellectual knowledge that can be sold. And that's why people are giving their copyrights and protecting their knowledge so that it's not stolen. So education, it is sold. So knowledge as well, we can say knowledge is money. Thank you so much, Purity Mato, for joining in. And you are watching from University Place in Seattle. Helen Kanywanjohi, you're tuned in from Kithurahi. Karibu sana. You're very welcome. And keep on sharing with your friends. And Sarah Mwangi, you have joined us, and Karibu sana, and keep sharing. For those who would like to call me, the number is +1 205 905 6440. +1 205 905 6440. You can tune in on the app where you can listen to us from the radio. You can tune in also from Facebook and from YouTube. Keep on telling your friends. And now we are moving on. I want to welcome you to join in. I want you to welcome you to join in this question. I'm asking, and please try to answer. There is no right or wrong answer. I'm not here to judge anyone. The question is right there on the screen. What is money? What is money? I've been saying, you use money to go buy your bread. You go and buy your vegetables. You go and pay for your education. You go and do business with money. But what is money? So I'm going to give you just a minute as I also think around the same. Yes, and also as I look around for the questions that the answers that have been given previously. And therefore we see, what is money? What is money actually? What is it? So let's see what people are bringing in. So Mr. Neil Hutchings says, be wise, money saved is twice as sweet as the money earned. So be wise, or rather wise money saved. Okay, when you're wise, money saved is twice as sweet as money earned. That's what he's saying. So if you have earned some money and you save some of that money, and then you look at your pocket or you look at your savings and think, wow, I have more money and it feels so good. And that's why when people have money with them, they feel very good that they have money, they have saved, they have worked hard in the saving and in reducing the spending. And when they have money that they have saved, then that money can be invested somewhere else. And therefore, that's how people grow their wealth. So I'm asking a question. What is money? I'm asking a question. What is money? And I would like at least a couple of answers before I move on. And by the time I am looking for these answers, I want to welcome Maurice Mwagangi all the way from Laikipia to Kombele Sana. They are very forward. They are moving forward, or they are very developed, if that's what he meant. So Maurice Mwangangi, karibu sana. And Catherine Macharia, karibu sana. And you're saying, tune in, money is power. That's what Catherine is saying. Money is power. Thank you so much, Catherine, for that contribution. I would like a couple more answers. You tell me, what is money, so that we can be able to move on. What is money? What is money? What do you think money is? What do you think is money? We use it every day. So what is it? What is money? And before we move on, I'm waiting for one, maybe more answer. Then I can read you some of the answers that I was given. Don't Google. Just try to tell me, this is something you use every day. What is it? Purity Mato said, money is good because it makes all moves well. It makes everything move well. So money is good. It's true. When you have money, you can be able to transact a lot of things. You can make a lot of things happen around here and there. Well done. Money is good because it makes all to move well. And then we have George Ufanisi, and karibu sana Purity Mato, sija kukaribisha, karibu sana. And then John Ufanisi saying he's tuned in from New Zealand. Karibu sana, karibu sana. The question is, what is money? What is money? I wouldn't like you to Google. I would like you to try and just answer that question without Googling. Now, maybe it's easier to ask this second question. Is money good or is it evil? I know a few people have already said money is good and money is power, because when money is power, is it good or is it evil? Lucy Muthoka here says, money is the source of all evil. Yes, that's what Lucy Mukora saying, money is the source of all evil. Do we all agree? Do we not agree? Do you think money is good or money is evil? That's a quick answer to give me a yes or no, or evil, good, evil, good. Let me see a few. Is money good or is money evil? So let's see some of the answers that you are bringing in. Yeah, and while you are giving me your answers, yeah, money is a means of transacting goods. Yes, it is. Fantastic, Gladys. Thank you, Gladys Minor. Money is a means of transacting goods. Without money, then you cannot have the goods or the services that you need. And we will be expanding on that as well. Karibu sana Jane Karanja, you're watching from Kileleshwa. Karibu sana. The question was, what is money? And the second question was, is money good or is it evil? Is money good or is it evil? Now, while you're thinking whether it's good or evil, I'm going to read you some of the answers that I got from Facebook this week because I did ask that question. I asked my friends without Googling, what is money? Is it good or is it evil? So some of them went straight away and answered the second question and says, Gati Janet says, money is good. Moses Kamau said, money is good. Caroline said, money is evil. It's a pain somewhere I don't want to say. That's what she said. And then Margaret Kinuthia said, money is good and necessary. That's what Margaret Kinuthia said. Abilisa said, money is a source of income or living. It's good for betterment of our living. George Kipiegon Minor says it's a medium of exchange. Money is neutral. It depends on who is handling it. So I'm going to be reading a few of the answers because they gave me the answers and I'm thinking this will help me to be able to discuss money. Yeah. Lucy Mukora says money is evil. That's what she's saying. Thank you, Lucy. Every answer is valid here. And then Neil Hutching here is saying money is a modern form of barter trade. You know those days when you could go to the market and exchange your goods. You brought a goat in the market and you went home with grain, right? And when I was growing up, my grandmother used to tell me these stories. So it was wonderful that she used to tell me the days they used to go to the market and do barter trade and exchange goods. And sometimes they were using cowrie shells, I think. That's what she was telling me. So money is power. That was given by Liana Paul. Joaquin Dungu said money is something used to buy things. It's good, but some people use it badly. And then some said it's relative on how to feel about money, whether it's good or not good. He added, a person's potential is realized in abundance. Money is a representation of abundance. A person with good character is better, and the inverse is true. So he thinks money is something that adds wealth and makes people better. And then Teresa Kamau say money is a necessary evil. That's what she said. And it's a source of evil. But she was told off by one of her sisters who said, no, don't say that, because if you say that, money will hear that. So to her, money has ears. And when you talk negatively about money, then it's going to take a runner. It's going to run away from you. That's what she said. So he said, please, please, please don't say that, because if the money hears, it's going to run away from you. And then they had to apologize. So the other cousin was saying, please apologize to money so that it doesn't run away from you. Then I have Heather Doxy, who said money isn't evil. People are evil. Obviously not everyone, but in the right hands, money is very good. Shiro Joy said, if you steward it well, it is good. But if you let it to steward you, then it will lead you to a path that you won't like. Then Jackie Madaga said, money is so good. In fact, she added four smiles. Very nice. Money is so good. Money represents provision from God's hands. That's what she said. And then Greg Jacobson said, it is potential for both good and evil. Anne Wanjiro said, money is good, but people can handle it in an evil way, making it to seem evil. Bernadette Dickens said, money is sweet. And then SN said, money is not everything, but can make sure you earn a lot, but make sure you earn a lot before making any nonsense. That's what he said. I didn't quite understand his statement, but there we go. Then we had somebody else saying here, Wamboi Fei said, money is something that can make you sick if you lack it. If you don't have money, I think she meant you can have stress and depression. Then Richard Beckham said, money is neither good or evil. It can be used for great things and bad things. It can control people or it can be controlled by people. It is more to do with the heart of the people using. Either way, it cannot fill the void that is deep in the soul of mankind. Deep in the heart of mankind cannot be filled with money. Money cannot satisfy that hunger. That's what he said. Then Sylvia Ndungu said, money is something that has value. And she said about being a manufactured mint. She went deep into the way the money is made, and she was saying you can use it to buy something and make you sick if you don't have it. And if you don't have your own money, people can hate you, and money depends on how you handle it yourself or without it. Money generally is good. That's how she finished. Then I think Betty Otieno said, I think it's good. Otherwise, God would not have allowed us to have it. But the problem is the love of it, which we have been warned against. I also think that if you have a lot of money and use it wisely by helping others who are less fortunate, then there is no problem there. God is not against the idea of having a lot of money, but he does not want us to be controlled by money itself. And if we are blessed to have it, then it is good to use it wisely. So those are some of the answers I'm getting. But before I finish reading all the answers there, let me see what my audience here today are telling me about money. So let's move on a little bit back and see what people are telling me. So Neil Huchin had said money is a form of modern butter, and it is actually has no value. The value is a virtual value. It allows you to make choices. So money is not there as such, because it's a coin, a silver coin or a copper coin or a piece of paper. And in the case of the UK, a plastic kind of a thing now. It's plastic money. It doesn't have value. That paper that you're holding in your hand, it doesn't have value anyhow. It's the government that has given it value. Okay. And then Gladys Minor says money can be good or evil. It depends on how it is used. Dennis Oyugi says the book of Hosea says silver and gold comes from God. Of course, they do come from God. Why? Because the minerals that we use to make that money, the silver itself and the gold itself, it's the thing that God had put in the ground for us already. So all we do is mine it. And then Maurice Mwangangi said money is the assets used in the settlement of transactions. So you can have assets, rather than just have the money itself. You can have other assets that can be used as transactions in the name of money. And then Purity Mato said 90% of the things done you have to do with money. And then Neil Huching says money cannot make you happy. That's very true. And then Maladasha said money is the source of all evil. That's Maladasha saying that. I don't know whether we agree or disagree on that. We will see later. And then Purity Matu again said money is good because 90% of the things are done on this planet, they use money. And money cannot make you happy, but it can be used to bless others. That's what Neil added. It doesn't make us happy, but it's a good thing to have in your hands because you can bless other people. And then on this side, we had heard about Lucy Mukora saying money is evil. And if I've missed any other, comment on that side, I will come back to that. Well done. People are doing very, very well. So let me just finish on my list of the Facebook one, because I think they were so diverse, I couldn't leave them out. Margaret Skill said, money, it's a social construct. Remember that word I have spoken about, constructivism. So we have constructed money. We have made money to be what it is. We have given it a name. We have given it a value. We have given it the way we transact things. Money has been constructed by human beings. So she says it's a social construct, real only as long as people believe in it. So if you're given a 20-pound note or a $20 note, then as long as you believe that $20 is worth $20. Unfortunately, if you take that $20 maybe somewhere else in the world, it doesn't have value because you cannot buy bread from a local shop while it's like that. You have to take it to the bank for it to be exchanged with the local money. It doesn't matter whether it's a dollar or a pound, but as long as it's not changed to the currency of where you are, that money may not help you. But it's money that is worth for someone else wherever they are. Okay, and then Kay Spence Bonick said, money is neither good nor evil. It is a tool that we use in our economic system. And Nancy Wangari said, money is good, but can also be a source of evil and pride. Let money come and grow, and we'll manage evil and pride. And then Harrison Mungai says, money is a currency used while transacting, e.g., buying. And then money is good if it is used well. Wakamito Mike said, money is good. And that is the end of the list from the Facebook respondents. And thank you so much for everybody who has given me an answer tonight, because you're helping me to really bring this to life. Yeah, all the answers that you have given are fantastic. Yes, money is good. It answers all things. That is Monique Kinothia bringing in that particular answer. I have just seen it coming through. So, Monique, you have said money is good and it answers all things. I hope I haven't missed any of the answers from anyone here. Sometimes the comments disappear. Sometimes they do. But sometimes I see all of them as they come through. Yeah, as they come through, I do see them. So thank you so much. And Maurice Mwangangi, you have said money is good, but it depends on how you will use, of which it's sharper than a sword. That's what he's saying. That money can be good, but sometimes it's sharper than a sword. It can kill. Good, excellent. Now, let me give you my take of money out of the little research that I did. So remember last week I mentioned that we were working on knowledge. So I looked for a little knowledge to be able to understand. Personally, money is good. I haven't said money is evil. Personally, that's my take, that money is good. And remember, as I was talking about knowledge, and I've said knowledge is part of how we use money. The wisdom that we have on how we use the money is very, very good. So, as I was talking about the constructivism, we have constructed money. We have made it to be the way it is. We have given it a meaning. And as long as we live and believe in the money, and I know people have been changing their currencies. Even Kenya changed their currency not long ago. Here in the UK, they changed the currency not long ago. These things keep on changing sometimes. So they say, oh, this time around, we don't want plastic money, or we want this type of money. These things do happen. Okay. From the etymology, from the root word of money, or where it came from, there is a story around Rome. Yeah, there's a story they have said about Rome. There was a hill, yeah, they say, where the Romans used to take their minted money or their coins, and this particular woman or the goddess was collecting that money. And that's how maybe the word moneta came from Rome. So in the past, money wasn't called money as we know it right now. It was called something else. But they say the meaning that was put on that money at that particular time, it was something unique, or something, a unit, or something just untitled and united kind of. And also they were saying that money, this particular person loved the money so much that the soldiers, when they went to war, they would bring these coins to her and throw to this place until it became like a shrine where they were worshiping. But in the Western world, the coin money, sometimes people say it's something that means like meaning in kind. Okay, something you can give somebody and say, this is in kind. I'm paying this in kind. But like I said, we have constructed money, and from wherever we are, we know the meaning that it is. And initially, somebody had said that money is something that is used now, but in the past, people were using barter trade. So more than 100,000 years ago, yeah, somewhere where Eden was, right, just in Mesopotamia, around Iraq or Iraq now, around there in Iraq, that's where Mesopotamia was. That's where the cradle of civilization was. I think when I was taught in school, I think I can remember it was called the Fertile Crescent. That is where some of the barter trade, the businesses started, and people were exchanging. They were exchanging. And with time, people formed different types of money. And with time, there are places like in Israel, they would call them shekels. And those shekels could be worthy of a bag of barley or a bag of wheat. Yes, and with time, people decided to make the gold and silver. Somebody had told me here earlier on that gold and silver belong to God, and that is written in Hosea. So Dennis Oyugi had said about that. So with time, they discovered that they can use coins made of silver and they can use coins made of gold. And it was thought that, they started stamping, they could stamp the picture of their kings, or they could stamp a picture of something, so that money, now it was no longer just a silver piece or a gold piece. They started to mint it. Now they started to make money as it is, and that could have been 650 to 600 before Christ, before BC. Now, funny enough, there is a dynasty in China. There's a dynasty in China called Jiaozi. They were the earliest people to make paper money. They were the earliest people to make paper money. Can you imagine? So we had a lot of coins that were minted, but somewhere in China they decided, no, we have to make paper money. So if you want to call me, and I'm seeing some people listening on the phone, so Gugi Michael, karibu. Gugi Michael, karibu sana. Thank you for joining us. Now, like I had said earlier, UK has transitioned their money into plastic. So you can do, I haven't tried, but I think you can put your money in the washing machine and it will be fine. So it wouldn't be wrinkled like that. So I think it will be fine. There we go. Now, we had said what is money and what is my takes. And some people have answered the questions very well, which is fantastic, right? Thank you, Natasha McLeod, for joining us. Thank you, Helen Kanyuanjohi. You said, hello, Purity, here we are, and fine. And then Alice Marunga, money is good, but depends on the motive you to stretch with it. And then Maurice Mwangangi said, money is good, but it depends on how you will use it, of which is sharper than a sword. And we have other people on this side. We'll have a look shortly and see whether more comments are coming in. Let's play. There we go. So like I was saying, you can use money for many things. Money is anything that you can verify that it's money. Yeah, if it can be verifiable, then it can be able to buy the item that you're going to buy. If you go with a fake note or a fake coin and then the shopkeeper finds that it's fake, then it's not verifiable. So you cannot use it for payment. Otherwise, if they accept that the money can be verified, then you can buy your goods, you can pay for your services, you can pay your taxes, you can pay your debts, you can pay your rent, and so many other things. You can buy your food from that money. And then there is money that comes in the form of checks, and these checks are becoming kind of nullified nowadays. Yeah, but some people are still using them. Now, it's very interesting because somebody writes an amount of money on a piece of paper and they say that is money. Yeah. Kuna watu wanatafutana nyuma ya hema. Purity, mtafutane hapo nyuma ya hema na mtakutana hapo nyuma ya hema. It's very good. It's good that friends are meeting in the classroom. I like this. I like this. Now, when we have money, it's the government that says this is a legal tender and it can be used as money. We, as the local people, citizens, we don't have the power over saying what is money. It is the government that decides from now, this is a legal tender of £50.
You are the last party in the conference. You will hear silence until the conference begins.
Yes. Okay, and then as we keep on moving, counterfeit money. I think you have heard about counterfeit money. Sometimes we do have counterfeit money. The problem with counterfeit money, once those people discover how to make it, it can make our local money lose value. You know, the normal money that we use, it can start losing value. And then when the minters or those who make money, if they make so much money and it's flooding the market, again, it can lose the value. Now, a few years ago, if you wanted to be a billionaire, all you needed to do is to go to South Africa, Zimbabwe, and you could become an overnight millionaire. But the problem is, if you wanted to buy a loaf of bread, you still needed to carry a lot of money to go and buy that loaf of money. There's quite a lot of different types of money, and the money we keep in the bank. And nowadays, the strange thing is, you can see your bank statement, you're not holding your money, and you trust that the bank is keeping your money because you see a big number of your balance. But in actual sense, the banks don't keep the money. What they tend to do, they take your money and they lend it to other people. So whenever there was a kind of when the markets were coming down and you wanted to go and take your money, sometimes the banks would tell you they don't have the money because that money they don't keep it in the bank. And it's not good to keep it under your mattress as well, because, if the house was to catch fire, then something could happen and your money could be just burnt just like that. Anyway, good. And we are going very well. They are going very well. Okay, I have a question. I have a question. What do you think of money in relation to, the knowledge that we talked about, and in the way we consume or we want a lot of it? Is it good that we want a lot of money? Would you rather have a lot of money or just enough money? Maybe that's the question I should ask. Which one would you rather have? Have a lot of money or just have enough? Which one would you rather have? Would you like to have a lot of money or just enough? So as we look for commercial today, we will look at an example of how man was enticed at the Garden of Eden so that they can go and have a lot of knowledge. That is the tree of knowledge they were eating from. Yes. And Shoshowatu Ana is present, and she's watching from Kiganja Njeri. Karibu sana Shoshowatu Ana, karibu sana, and thank you for joining us. So I was asking a question. Would you rather have big amounts of money, or would you rather just have sufficient enough money? Would you rather have that? Now, as you think about that question, I'm going to take you back into the Garden of Eden, and I'm going to take you back to that tree of knowledge of good and evil. Yes, the humankind were enticed to eat from the tree of knowledge. And guess what? It was like, I am looking good, eat me, eat me, eat me, okay? But it was the devil who was trying to entice the woman, and the woman went and enticed her husband, and they ate, and they ate, and they ate. Now, we live in a society, if I'm right to say, that is super consumption. Yeah, they just like to consume and consume and to consume. One of the days I came across a documentary that was saying that somebody somewhere decided that they will find a way where they can make people just like money, 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 money. They use psychology to kind of affect our minds in the way they work. And that's why we have advertisements. Yeah, this person started with advertisement, and they would show you, you need more money, you need more money. And once you need more money, you need more goods. You need a fridge, you need you need a car, you need this. So we became super people who can consume lots of things, even some of the things that we do not need. So the question is, would you rather have a lot of money or just sufficient money so that you can be able to meet your needs? Now, Shoshowatu Ana, you said you're watching from Kiganja. I hope I'm not missing anybody on this side. So Elizabeth Joki, asante sana. Sarah Muasia, asante sana. Elizabeth Washira, asante sana. Elizabeth Njoki, asante sana. Sarah Mwangi, asante sana. Catherine Masharia, again, asante sana. And Lucy Mokora, thank you for the answers that you've been giving me. So Helen Kanywanjohi said, I would rather have enough money. I would rather have enough money. And I agree with her. I agree with her. Just enough, sufficient to meet my needs, not the wants. Most of us have a lot of other wants. And if you ask us where we are taking those wants, I don't know. But it's also good to have a lot of money if you know how to use it wisely, like we had said initially. Just remember this, we are living in a super consumption kind of, we want to consume, we want to consume, we want to consume. And sometimes we take too much than we need. We kind of accumulate more than we need. Neil Hutchings said, what is more important is how is it, not how much you have. Think of the parable of the talents. Yes, if you have too little, like one talent, don't go and bury that talent, use it. If you have 2 talents, you can go and multiply it. Yes, and if you have 5 talents, you can go and multiply. But remember, where did this money go? This money was given back to the very boss who gave them. So the money is not necessarily yours. The money is there to be given out. So if you are given money, you can multiply it, but it's not for you just to keep it so that when you look at your bank account, you're thinking, oh, I have a lot of money. I'm becoming richer and richer. You have to keep on transacting that money. You have to keep on investing that money so that you can help other people. If you're the kind of person who buys real estate, buy, build, and give people homes. So don't just keep billions and billions of money in the bank account and feel good that you have billions of money. If you're the kind who can be able to feed hundreds and thousands of people. Open a restaurant, invest that money, and go and feed as many people as you can feed. If you're the type of a person who can open a hospital, then go and open a hospital. That makes healthcare a bit cheaper if we have more hospitals, something like that. So remember, one of the things I was saying back in Eden, in as much as we were enticed to eat from the tree of knowledge, and then we were deceived by the devil, consuming to take in, there is one thing God has done in the beginning. He had done something very good in the beginning. He had given us everything. And he still has given us everything we need for this life. He has given us. The Eden belonged to the mankind. They could use anything that was there except this particular tree that was testing their obedience, except this one tree that was testing their obedience. Otherwise, the whole of the Garden of Eden, the animals, they had been given the power over them. They had been given dominion over them, everything. It belonged to them. But because of dissatisfaction, or rather because of just being enticed, or because the devil came in and tricked them into whatever they were tricked in, they became disobedient. So Mary Joyful Noise has joined in, and Rose Richardson said, enough money, too much brings lots of problems. Yeah, because you need to take care of it. Once you have too much money, it becomes a problem because you have to be more alert. You have to have a lot of wisdom and a capacity to be able to handle that big money. Big money is not for everyone. I think there is a verse in the Bible that says, he who is faithful with the little can also be entrusted with a lot. Sometimes God doesn't give us lots of money because maybe we cannot be trusted in using that money. But I've seen people using money very wisely, and they have built nations and they have built communities, which is very good. So in the past, they were told, do not eat, but they got it. Yeah, they had been told they can touch it. One of the things I wanted us to do tonight, and we are doing, we can think about money, we can have the money, but let us not let that money consume us. So the very moment we let the money become our masters, then that's a problem. We are supposed to be the masters of the money. So the money must serve the purpose of mankind. The money must serve our purposes rather than we serving the money. So the day the money starts making you to be that, like, it becomes your master, then I think we have lost our way. Remember, it's by simple faith that these people could have trusted God in obedience at the Garden of Eden. Yeah, without really, in the same way I'm saying tonight. Yes, it's by simple trust that if I say when you're given a lot of money, yes, use it wisely. If you're given little money, use it wisely the same way, and just trust that it's going to serve the purpose, but never let money be the preoccupation of your life. Sometimes when you have little money, you're just preoccupied, you don't sleep because you're thinking, how can I make money? But I know there are ways we can make enough money, just sufficient for each day. Yes, Jesus said, do not worry about tomorrow. There's sufficient problems for each day, and that's what you're supposed to hold on to. Now, somebody did say money is evil. A number of us, I think even Lucy Mukora this side, said money is evil, right? That's what she said. Now, I'm going to just chant that from the way my book, the good book, tells me. Money is not evil. Money is very good, okay? Money is very good. But the love of money, that particular part I was telling you, saying consume, take on more, because you become greedy. And then when you have more, you become evil because you're being prideful. So love of money is what becomes the evil part of it. The root of all evil is the love of money, not the money itself. Otherwise, God would not be allowing people to be rich, right? But if you're rich and you're able to use that money wisely, yeah, without really holding on to it, loving it as if you're married to that money, then that would be wrong, right? If it masters you, that would be wrong. Karibu sana Masi Onzere. Karibu sana, and thank you for the love that you have sent me across this side. And I'm also checking on the other side so that I don't miss the people who are joining in. So remember this. Out of this lesson, if there's one thing you need to remember, money is good, but the love of money is evil. Why? Because money then starts to master you. Then money becomes the root for bringing pride and for bringing greed and for bringing other things. Then that's where it becomes a problem, the love of money. So you can love so much money that it just consumes you. The more you take in, it's like you go and sink in it and it consumes you. There's a book in the Bible, in the second book of Timothy, 2 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10, it says that, "For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, for which some have strayed from their faith in the greediness, and it has pierced themselves through with many sorrows." So some people have become sorrowful because of that loss of money, love of money. You love it, then kind of sometimes it's running away from you. You love it, it gives you pride, you don't want to talk to people, and then one time when you lose it, then you become somebody else, it can give you sorrow. There's quite a lot of things that you can learn from money. Now, I'm going to now bring you to the book that I wanted us to read tonight. I've told you about money. I've told you about the knowledge where it can be used as part of money. I think I've told you about time. If I haven't, I will mention it later on. I'm going to bring you to the book of Ecclesiastes. Yeah, I'm going to bring you to the book of Ecclesiastes. Some of us may have never heard of the book of Ecclesiastes. Some of us have heard about the book of Ecclesiastes. So if there is a theme that goes through the book of Ecclesiastes, it says it is meaningless. It is meaningless. Everything is meaningless. Life is meaningless. Wisdom is meaningless. Knowledge is meaningless. Everything is vanity, vanity, vanity. But is everything useless? Is money useless? We have already established money is not useless. It's not meaningless. If you use it wisely, we have given it a meaning. And if we use it wisely, then money can really bless you. Now, the book of Ecclesiastes is a book that is loved by atheists. Those people who don't believe in God, they do read the Bible as well. Did you know that? They do read the Bible. And the book they read is the Ecclesiastes. But the problem is they don't read it in the context, in the whole context up to the end. What they read is where it says, all is vanity. Thank you so much, Gladys Minor. That is the theme of the book. That is what comes through. Virginia Moremi, karibu sana, karibu sana, karibu sana. And yes, karibu sana. So when you hear about the book of Ecclesiastes, what stands out is that it's meaningless, 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 vanity, 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 vanity. But let me bring you close. Ecclesiastes is a book of wisdom. It's one of those books of wisdom among the other books of wisdom, Proverbs, yeah, and I think even the Psalms can be counted as part of that. But it's a book of wisdom. And while it's a book of wisdom, it's written by somebody called either teacher, that's what they tend to say, yeah, or a preacher. This person, they have given him a name of a teacher or a preacher. And they tend to say this man, the preacher or the teacher, was King Solomon. King Solomon was the son of David with Bathsheba. So when they narrate the book of Ecclesiastes,
you are the last party in the conference. You will hear silence until the conference begins.
A people who has been implied to be the student here. So the teacher is talking to the student. So tonight, you can be my student. So when I'm telling you about the book of Ecclesiastes, it's like now the preacher, the teacher here trying to tell you about the wisdom and what is good and what is not good. Now, the whole book is about reflections of this teacher, and it was reflection on his life. And he had lived in the ancient kingdom of Israel. Of course, if it was King Solomon, then he was the king. He was the king at that time. Now, like I've said, yeah, the main theme is, it's just talking about humanity and how fruitless or how meaningless can be, and how they cannot find contentment in this life. Now, I'm seeing some good words coming through. Virginia Moremi says that vanity ways of seeing things was another meaning of saying that no matter what you have without God, it is useless. I like that, Virginia Moremi. I really like that. And then Selina from Mombasa, Kenya says, thanks for God's word. And even Jesus Christ told the disciples, have everything you have and follow me. That means leave all the evil, follow me. Yes, that's what they're saying. Hi, Virginia. Karibu sana. Asante for joining us. And thank you for that contribution you've given us there. So, like I was saying, the whole theme of the book is about mankind searching for something to satisfy them. Some people look for money to satisfy them. Some people look for knowledge to satisfy them. But that knowledge and money cannot satisfy them. It cannot give them contentment. There will be other hollow places that there will be. And I think earlier on somebody has said money cannot bring happiness. I think it's Neil who has said money cannot bring happiness. Now, the sub-themes of that, was saying that there is nothing you can find contentment in. It cannot be found in anything material. It cannot be found in anything material. It cannot be found in anything that we do. The contentment, like Virginia Moremi has said here, can only be found in God. And also the way Selina from Mombasa added, yes, we need God to be able to find true contentment. And we will see that as we go along. Yeah, and then he was saying that while wisdom and knowledge are good, they are very good, but however, they leave unanswered questions, a lot of them. They do leave unanswered question, a lot of them. And that's where now the problem can come in. And that's why he ended up saying it's meaningless. Because if I cannot be able to answer this question using the wisdom, I cannot answer this question using the wisdom, it looks like everything is becoming more meaningless and more meaningless. However, when we see life as this meaningless, it becomes, it gives us something hollow. You feel hollow. You feel hopeless. You feel like something is missing. There is a hunger. There is a thirst for something. So you can find a millionaire who is not happy. You can find a poor person who is very happy. You can find somewhere in the middle there, the one that has just enough, feeling happy, right? Virginia Moremi says, I'm here, Esther, though I am getting ready for work. That's fine, Virginia. We can always catch up on the replay. Don't worry. And thank you so much for joining us. There we go. So the meaning, the meaning in life can be found only in the right relationship with God. Otherwise, that hopelessness cannot be filled with money. That hopelessness cannot be filled with knowledge. That hopelessness cannot be filled in the goodness that you think is in the world. You can have everything that you think you need, but at the end of the day, you may feel hopeless. Yes. However, the teacher was still saying that as he was reflecting, he was kind of saying that it's important that when we look at everything that we are looking, we need to find out where our destiny is. So the teacher relates his life experience from his search for meaning. That's what the book is saying. So if you read from chapter 1 and maybe going to chapter 2, he was trying to look for the meaning in his life. Then if you look at the rest of the chapter starting from 3, he was looking at everything that he had learned and achieved, whether it was any meaningful. And then in chapter 6, as he moved on now, he was coming to give practical advice on wisdom and obedience, what to do with it. He doesn't say that you cannot use wisdom and you cannot use knowledge and you cannot use obedience, but how do you use it? And then he concludes towards the end with the destiny with God. That's how he finishes it. Now, if you look at how this gentleman was about and how he started to lose his wisdom and how he started to lose direction, one of the things he had thought he will do so well, it is marrying so many wives. I think he had 1,000 women. I think 700 were wives and then 300 concubines. That's how many women King Solomon had. So I don't know whether he had time for all of them. I don't know whether he knew all of them, but he later on found that he cannot find satisfaction in those women. Unfortunately, those women misled him. They were given to him as gifts. They were given to him and they were bringing more wealth to him. They were bringing more money to him because as the kings who are forming these alliances with every different king, they would give gifts to Solomon. They would bring even their daughters to be married to Solomon. Unfortunately, those very daughters or the very wives that he took on, they asked him to build altars for them, for their gods. And that's how he started losing this wisdom. And that's why he was kind of, even having wisdom is meaningless, because in his wisdom, He didn't think that marrying too many wives was not wise. Too many wives was not wise. He didn't think that building altars for other gods, yet he had been commanded to obey only one God. He didn't think that way. His wisdom just went and it just disappeared like that. Anyway, he had started to do idolatry. And like one of the ladies here said, Celine from Mombasa, one of the things that God reminds us, and even Jesus reminds us, we cannot find purpose in the things of this life. So 10 centuries before the birth of Jesus, the book of Ecclesiastes urges the Christians to seek God first to find purpose in their lives. So towards the end of chapter 12, the same wise man, the same teacher, he urges us to find the purpose in God. He does tell us. And today, because Solomon is gone, and his riches are gone, his palaces are gone, his gardens are gone, his wives are gone. His writing is only the thing we are left with to read, and we must read it in context. If you read, you pick just one verse, yeah. I remember one person telling me, "Oh, Esther, money answers everything. Money answers." And they were saying proudly, they were preaching about prosperity, and they told me, money answers everything. And they were happy to say, you need money. Yes, we do need money, but money doesn't answer everything. If you read it in context, money answers only things that can be answered with money. Like I said earlier, if you need to buy food, then you can go buy food because you have money. But when it comes to life and death, money cannot save a life. When it comes to health, like now we know COVID-19 is really putting people on hospital beds. There are many people who are stuck with high bills. They are not able to pay unless people help them. And even those who are helping, people are becoming tired or they don't have the money to kind of fund that. So sometimes we say, oh, money is everything. We can have money. It can buy everything, but money cannot buy everything. Money cannot solve everything. So we must remember that. Yes, we must remember that. Now, so some of the key verses, I'm just going to pick some of the key verses that are there. And let's see who has come in and is joining us a moment ago. Dr. Reverend Mugo Wamagi says this in 1 Timothy 6:6-12, that, but godliness with contentment is great gain. We brought nothing into this world, and we can take nothing out of it. But if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. Yes, have enough money to buy your food. And then J. Patrick saying, thank you, my sister. That means it's not because of it. What we have, that we have good life is by grace and peace that comes from God. You have blessed me. That's right. So what I'm going to do now is pick up a few key verses from the book of Ecclesiastes. And Tracy Mumbi has joined in and she's saying, hello. Hello, Tracy, and welcome. We are talking about money, whether it's good or it's evil. And we have extended it in the book of Ecclesiastes because that's where we see the themes of money in terms of knowledge and wisdom, in terms of time, and in terms of money itself, as in wealth, in that particular book. So some of the key verses I'm going to read is Ecclesiastes 5 verse 10, which says, whoever loves money never has enough. If you love money, and that's why it's the root of all evil, it will always give you a hunger and thirst. You will never have enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. This too is meaningless. So because you know now you'll never have enough, you can work and work and work, you'll never have enough. That's where the meaninglessness comes in. But if you know when to stop and have enough and say, I'm content with this because I have enough to buy my food, I have enough to satisfy my needs, not once. I have enough to be able to help people. I have enough to invest and be able to develop my community or develop my city or develop something else. If you have enough and you're using it wisely, then that is good. But if you love money, you'll never have enough. And whoever loves wealth, they will never have enough. And that's where now the meaninglessness comes in. And then Ecclesiastes 10 verse 19 says this, a feast is made for laughter. Wine makes life merry, and money is the answer for everything. That's where I had quoted initially. And I said, somebody came and took that one out of context and told me, Esther, we need to make a lot of money. Christians need to be rich. Yes, you can be rich. When God blesses you with money, get rich. If he has given you the potential to make money, make it. But what for? Just remember, it doesn't answer everything. It doesn't answer the answer to our salvation. It will never save us. Of course, like I had said, money can only answer things that can be answered with money. Yes, if you have a bill and you need to pay that bill, then money can pay that bill. Everything doesn't necessarily mean everything, thing like life. No, it means just those things that can be answered with money. And then Ecclesiastes 12:8. Oh, that's when the preacher now said, meaningless. Everything is meaningless, meaningless. I think he was tired now. He had looked at everything and he was thinking, it's all gone now. Everything is meaningless. It's not meaningless. You have a purpose and I have a purpose. We have established money has a purpose. We have established knowledge has a purpose. Initially, in the past episodes, we have established our physical bodies have a purpose. We have established our spirit has a purpose. We have a beginning. We have an end. Our end is with God. So he is the one who knows the end from the beginning. We may not understand everything, but if we, like the way this preacher man finished, if we remember that everything ends with God, then nothing is meaningless. Everything is meaningful. It is meaningful and it will keep on adding meaningfulness. And then we keep on moving. Now, Ecclesiastes 12:13 says that now all has been heard. This is the conclusion of the matter. This is the last chapter that he's talking about. And my producer is showing some of the notes and some of the questions that I had sent earlier as a guidance for today's session. So it's not a very long session, but I enjoy talking to you. So I'm going to continue talking to you because it's a wonderful session. And for those who will be joining in later, they can be able to read the notes as well. Susan Wagetuto, karibu sana. Thank you for joining in. And karibu sana. Now, Ecclesiastes 12:13, it's the last chapter. It says that now all has been heard. Yes, here is the conclusion of the matter. Inasmuch he had said meaningless, meaningless, meaningless. He comes with this. This is the conclusion of the matter. Fear God and keep the commandments, for this is the duty of all mankind. He knows that truth. He knows that truth. Now, when I think of wisdom, I think about the same wisdom. Where can we find wisdom? In the book of Ecclesiastes. And how does it help? He says, with much wisdom comes much sorrow. In the same way, money. When you have lots of it, it becomes overwhelming. In the same way, if you have too much wisdom, it can bring you a lot of sorrow. And he said, more knowledge, more grief. The more you know, the more you can grieve. Let me give you an idea. Yes, if you didn't know about the salvation plan of God, if you didn't know anything to do with it, then you are living in ignorance. And sometimes people say ignorance is bliss. So you have nothing to worry about. But if in this life you have come across where somebody has told you about the knowledge of God and they have told you God exists, I can tell you right now, that thing disturbs you in the heart because it's a knowledge that you know. And then you don't know what to do with the knowledge unless you research a little bit more to be able to find the truth. You remember when we were defining knowledge, you were saying knowledge helps us to find whether something is true or false, whether it's right or wrong. So whatever knowledge you have received, if it is meaningful to you, then it will disturb you until you know further meaning. But the more and the more you know, if you're not doing anything with that knowledge, then it can bring a lot of grief. That one I know, because you may end up having too much information overload in your head. So remember that. And then I said also earlier on, when they went to the Garden of Eden and they ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right? What did they want to do? They wanted to know. They wanted to be like God, all knowing, but they couldn't get there. And they ended up being confused. They ended up having a delusion. They ended up being vulnerable because you cannot be like God. So they were desiring to be like God. The same devil that had desired to be like God brought this knowledge of good and evil. And now when you start to categorize, oh, this is good, this is evil, this is good, this is evil, then it becomes really tough. It becomes tough. Many people would define themselves as good. But if you start digging about what they define as good about themselves, you find that it's not all good. Because if they don't stand another person, if they don't like another person, if they start telling you, I don't like that person, I don't like that person, at the end of the day, not everything is good. By the way, if you want to call the studio, the number is +1 2 0 5 9 0 5 6 4 4 0, and there we go. So I'm moving on. So it's important that if you seek knowledge, then use that knowledge wisely, because it's better to be wise than to be a fool. It's the same book that says so. In Ecclesiastes 2:13, it says this: I saw wisdom is better than folly, just as light is better than darkness. You can have wisdom, don't get me wrong, but if you have too much of it and it's not applied, then it doesn't help. Okay? So I said, wisdom is better than strength, but the poor man's wisdom is despised, and his words are not heeded. So sometimes the poor people, the poor person, or somebody that we may look at in the society and think they're useless, they may have a lot of wisdom, but we don't consider their wisdom because we are looking at them and feeling like, yes, their wisdom cannot be listened by anybody. They are not dressing properly. They are not talking properly. So who can listen to their wisdom? It happens. We despise that wisdom. But in the same book of Ecclesiastes, there is a person who is told of a story there. They tell of a story that this person that was kind of poor and all that, he saved a city because of his wisdom. But his wisdom had to be channeled to the king for that wisdom to be used. So the other thing I'm looking at, because today I said I'm looking at money, wisdom, and time, and all these things are spoken about in the Bible. Like I found 39 verses, which I'm not going to read right now. In the book of Proverbs, you can find a lot of wisdom, verses talking about wisdom. So when you have time, just study the book of Proverbs and you'll be able to know wisdom is not bad. But what do you do with that wisdom? What choices do you make with that wisdom? Money is not bad, but what choices do you make with that money that you've given? The next one that is part of time is money. So what do you do with your time? What do you do with your time? How do you spend your time in this life? When you have time, read Ecclesiastes chapter 3, and it says there is a time for everything. In this life, there is a time for everything. But what do we do during those times for everything? Yeah, one of the things they say, there is a time and a season for everything, a season for every activity under the heavens. Of course, most of those activities, somebody earlier had said to me, 90% needs money. There are things that we need to use money. So money, again, I'm going to say it's not bad. How you use it is what really matters. From the time somebody is born to the time they die, it's also verse 2, it costs money. From the time you plant, from the time you harvest or uproot, it needs money.
The conference
From the
is in
time
presentation
you heal,
mode.
it needs money. Yes, from the time you tear down, it needs money. From the time you kind of go to build, you need money. So many things need money. At the end of the day, if you read chapter 3, you will see some of those things have been told about time. They need money. And as that guy continues, as the teacher continues to say, but what do the workers gain from their toil? What do they gain at the end of the day? You go to work, I go to work. What do I gain at the end of toiling? The toiling that started at the Garden of Eden. What do I gain? He said, I've seen the burden God had laid on human race. But this burden is the burden we allowed to be laid on us because we were disobedient. Remember, the Garden of Eden, everything was good, everything was available. But at that particular time, when we disobeyed God, then God gave us, or gave mankind, time to toil. And we will toil and we will toil until our dying day. However, what do we gain out of that? We are able to feed ourselves. We are able to make money. We are able to make wealth. We are able to make knowledge and all the other things. But one of the things the Bible, the same chapter says, is that God has put eternity in our hearts. We may not understand. We may not understand like our end. We may not understand our beginning. Nobody was here when they were being conceived. Nobody even knew how they were born. For the first maybe 5 years of your life, you're not even aware of what happens. You have to depend on another person. And then towards of the end of the life, again, if you get confused because of dementia, you won't understand what is happening. But by the end of it all, one day, we are going to meet our maker. We are going to meet the very person who started it all. So he has put eternity in our hearts. And you find that people want to live here on earth forever. Most people are looking for creams that can sustain their skin so that they look younger. A lot of people are doing plastic surgery because they want to keep on staying younger. Yes. Oh, I was so shocked when I first moved to the UK, and I used to watch those programs. Nip and tuck, I think that's what they call them, nip and tuck. Yeah. So you can be cut here a little bit, and they tighten it a little bit. They could pull your eyes a little bit like that so that your eyes look. They could pull your skin and tuck it up here. So it was nip and tuck because people have eternity in their minds. Nobody wants to die. People want to live forever. Okay. But God has given us time and has given us things to do during that time. He has given us opportunities to make money, to make wealth, and to use it wisely. And He has given us a gift. Each one of us has been given a gift of something to do that can bring happiness to yourself and happiness to other people who are around you. And He says that everything will be judged. Everything we have done under the sun will be judged, and it will be judged by God. We cannot counter that because God is the one who has made everything. So He knows, like I said earlier, the end from the beginning. He knows why He has created everything the way He has done. So I'm going to finish soon. Tonight I may finish earlier. So what is the conclusion in this book? It says, like I had said earlier, in Ecclesiastes 12 verse 13, now all has been heard here. The conclusion of the matter is fear God and keep His commandments. In the first place, that is the duty of mankind. And that's what had happened in the Garden of Eden. So when you get your money, yes, use that money wisely in the way God would recommend that you use that money. If you get a lot of knowledge, use that knowledge wisely in the way that God would want you to use that money. If you have plenty of time to live here on earth, use that time wisely in the way God would want you to use that wealth. In summary, what have we spoken about tonight? Like I said, tonight I may give you time earlier so that I don't keep you too long. We started at looking at the rediscovery of the commercial. We started looking at the rediscovery of the commercial part of Spices of Life. That's where we started. The main currencies that we were discussing tonight is mainly money. Yeah. And we discussed whether it's good or evil. We have concluded money is good, but it depends on who is using that money. Is money mastering them or they're mastering money? It depends on that. So we make out what is good by deciding. You remember, we go back to the Eden garden and we choose from the tree of good and evil. We say money is good because it's good. It kind of answers everything that can be answered with money. However, not everything can be answered with money. Therefore, money is good. But the love of money is the root of all evil because it bears pride. It bears other sins, a lot of them. That's where everything goes wrong. But we also said time is money. So those who are in the developed world, they know that we work and are paid according to the time that we have invested at work. So whenever you think around money, think of also time. Any time wasted is an opportunity for maybe earning a living, alternatively doing something else that is practical. You can serve someone else. Even if you're not paid money, then you can be using that money wisely. The things that God has given us as our wealth to use in this life and use it wisely. So we looked at the book of Ecclesiastes, and the book of Ecclesiastes, which says most of the things are meaningless, but we know that if we honor God, then things are not meaningless. Why? Because God gives us a purpose. God has given us a life that has a purpose, and He's the one who knows the end from the beginning. So we better use our knowledge and time to serve Him wisely. So next week, what are we looking at? We'll be looking at our emotions. That's another area that needs to be looked at because it affects the way we trust God or not trust God. So next week, we're looking at the emotions. And before I go, I just want to recognize all the people who have joined me tonight, whether they're still in or they have left, and those ones who will be joining in at a later stage. So Catherine Mathenge, thank you so much. Hannah Keglins, thank you so much. Catherine Mathenge, once again there. Ephraim Wamai, asante sana. Rose Richardson, thank you so much. Gladys Minor, asante sana. Miriam Juguna, asante sana. Jacob Wamwea Bishop, asante sana. Wageshohi the other name I'm not seeing to the end, but Wageshohi, asante sana. Wero Paul, asante sana. David Ginga, asante sana. Neil Hutchings, asante sana. Janet Karimi, asante sana. Salome Peters, asante sana. Reverend Dr. Mugo Amagi, asante sana. And thank you so much for your topics on the bread of life. Yeah, it comes free because Jesus has paid for that bread of life. So thank you so much for your programs. I love them. And then Gladys Minor, asante sana, chair lady. And then thank you so much for all the answers that you've been giving me here. Rachel Paul, asante sana. Helen Kanywanjohi, asante sana. Purit Mato, asante. Neil Hutchings, asante sana. Morris Mwangangi, asante sana. Purit Mato, again there, asante sana. George Ufanisi, asante sana. Munywa Beth Jerry, asante sana. Purit Mato, asante sana. And then Jane Karanja, asante sana. Monique Kinodhia, asante sana. And who do we have here? Dennis Oyugi, asante sana. Maurice Mwagangi, asante sana. Maladasha, asante sana, asante sana, asante sana wote. And Alice Marunga, asante sana. Natasha McLeod, asante sana. Thank you so much. Shoshowatwana, asante sana. Asante. Mary P.S. Joyful Noise, asante sana. Masi Onzere, asante sana. Virginia Morimi, asante sana. Karibu sana. And then Selina wa Mombasa, or Selina Mombasa, asante sana. Okay, we are going on. Joy, Patrick, thank you so much. Susan Wagetuto, thank you so much. Alice Njuguna, thank you so much for joining in tonight. Paulo Caruth, thank you so much. And on this side again, I want to thank Elizabeth Njoki. There are many Elizabeths on this side. So we have Elizabeth Njoki, thank you so much. Sarah Moasia, thank you so much. Elizabeth Joki, again there, thank you so much. Sarah Mwangi, asante sana. Catherine Macharia, asante sana. Lucy Mukora, asante sana. Tracy Mumbi, asante sana. Thank you for joining in. And for those who are listening on the WhatsApp, I haven't checked yet. I'm going to have a quick look to see if there are those ones who have been joining here again. The number ending with 2005, thank you so much. There's a Catherine watching here, thank you so much. Mary Koikoi, thank you so much. And Virginia Morimi, thank you so much. And again, my director and producer on the other side, director of operations, thank you so much for being on the system and supporting me from the beginning during the day as we were collating the notes and everything. Thank you so much. Now, as we plan to listen to the music as we exit the studio, if you have any questions, you are free to call or you are free to text it and ask me. If there is anything you wanted Esther to clarify, I'm willing to clarify so that we can be working together and interactively working together. I like asking questions, and I like also following some of the notes that I have, because I believe these topics, at the end of the day, we are here to serve a purpose, and we serve purposes with the things that God has given us. He has given us knowledge. He has given us money. He has given us time. Those are the things that we use for serving in this life. So we need to be able to understand so that we don't waste anything, and that we are also not left with not knowing where we stand in this life, because we need to understand and know where do we stand in this life. So thank you, Sana. And Paulo Caruth said, I have a request. Go ahead. If you can type the request, please go ahead, and I will be able to read it before we come out of the studio. So Ruth, I have a request, ma'am. Go ahead and ask that request. Alice Njuguna, if I have not said your name, thank you so much. You said it's a very good message. So if you have a request before we go to the song, you can be able to ask. Kindly nicheze song ya Dhuo Wachege inaitwa Gweyamurera by Dhuo Wachege. I don't know whether my studio director will be able to find it now, but I can play that song next week if you don't mind. So if you don't mind, I can play that song next week so that I can be prepared well in advance. So Josie, wherever you are, if you could save this song for me, it's called Gweyamurera by Dhuo Wachege. And that will be next time, I believe, because we always need to be able to do those in advance. But thank you so much, Paulo Caruth. We will do that. Yeah. And somebody is saying, I'm late for the topic, and that is Alice Njuguna. Don't worry, we can always catch up at replaying. And there are many more programs so that you can also catch up with the objectives where we began previously. I have already done 6 sessions. So today is the best because it's number 7, and we were talking about money. So Josie, if you're there, please, we can be able to put our last song. And if there are any other requests that may be coming in, we can save those for next week. Yeah, we can save. And if you have any question, you can ask, or you can ask those questions. Yeah, I can see you have shared a link. Yeah, and I'll be enjoying that song for today. Yeah, there we go. Thank you so much.
Ngarisha na Optiven wegorere value added plot thini wa Success Gardens Gatanga Road Thika mucioyo ore off the super highway na no dagika kenda tu kuma Brupos. Success Gardens erigeiro na ruthiko rwa higaruo the project ineno na toguo tu mucioyo ni ogwekerwo solar street lights, internal roads, mai thitima, security ya gikro kia iguru, mete na green areas cia ko relax. Wekira deposit ya shiringi 995 Optiven ni turakuhe free washing machine oro uguo tuhu.
Hello, welcome back. If we have more requests, yes, and Hosea Kamau has just joined in, and Alice Njuguna said, kwa nini huku niita Susan Getuto? Hujachelewa sana, Alice Njuguna. We can always catch up in a replay. Please play the song Rehabu Sethu by Hosea Kamau. What I can do, because I normally do the planning well in advance, we can play those songs next week. So I'll save them. So be here and watch with us next week as we save those numbers. Just make sure they're not copyrighted so that they don't freeze on us. So just make sure they are free to share on YouTube, and we can be able to play those songs next week. Unless our director is able to find those songs. Rehabu Sethu by Hosea Kamau is another request. Rehabu Sethu by Hosea Kamau, that's another request of a song. And the other song we had a request was Gwea Morera by Duo Wachege. So whichever is ready, or if you don't have any of those songs, my producer, you can play any other songs as we close in the session for tonight. If you have any questions, you can ask me. I can be able to respond either today or next week, God willing. Asanteni sana. Thank you so much for listening tonight. Thank you so much. And somebody say powerful session.
Baleno gugati akwa, baleno newe okoroa, danona okero anyige, noka hota na todo winya. Tagira ngoro eno yakwa nani ndore babango tungatire gitagira ngoro eno yakwa nani ndore babango tungatire baleno gugati yakwa baleno newe okoroa janona okero anyige na todo winya danona okero anyige noka hota na todo winya roho wako leo chitererie nyatara yakaiga kajera mikuru anayalika weno wetu mudaidhuri Mikuru anayarika weno wetu mudaidhuri njibere ambite Wengai nowe wagaroranirie Hamania gitwo na njibere ambite Baleno kugati yakwa Baleno newe okoro Janona okero wanyige Nokahotana todo Janona okero wanyige Nokahotana todo hinya Sauro afanga koraga Daudi Niudua maguta wa mwitereirie Kwe wahutherire Jonathani Okihonokia muoyo wake Kwe wahutherire Jonathani Okihonokia muoyo wake Bareno kugati yakwa Bareno newe okoro Janona okero wanyige Nokahotana todo hinya Janona okero wanyige Nokahotana todo hinya kuhoya witikire kuhitha moyo wakwa nyumba yakwa umegitagire na ndagwita baba unjiguage nyumba yakwa umegitagire na ndagwita baba unjiguage